Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good evening. So my name is Nurul Arwani Zafira binti Biamin, and I am representing question 13, week 13, question 1 on MATMI. So here we can see that MATMI here stands as an expert evidence in this trial. So MATMI are giving oral evidence and stands as a competent witness under section 118 of the Evidence Act. So we can see that here the defense counsel are trying to giving MATMI several questions in order to impeach his credibility on while cross examination. This is allowed under section 155 of the Evidence Act. And the act of the defense counsel here is trying to impeach the credibility of the MATMI by giving the question during cross-examination are also provided in section 146 and 148, where under this provision that the court allow the question given in order to test the credibility and also to shake the credit of the witness by injuring his character. So based on this section, the question given by the defense counsel here was in order to test the credibility of the MATMI and trying to shake his credit by injuring his character. So this was false under the MV of section 146 and 148. And the question on the literacy of MATMI by the defense counsel seems to be relevant to prove that MATMI actually prepared the report and thus establish the credibility of the MATMI. Although this question might be sounded to insult or annoy MATMI as a witness under section 152, but based on the case of Shanti Kumari Om Prakash, the court in this case allow such evidence to be admitted in order to prove the material facts of issue in this case. And here the competency of MATMI, which he stands as an expert witness, is a material facts issue on the case, and thus the court shall allow the question to be asked and rejected the objection by the prosecution, as this process is material to prove the credibility of witness in order to determine whether or not the oral evidence given by MATMI can be admitted. So next I'm moving on the presumption of fact. So based on the conduct of both prosecution and the defense, we can see that the court here may draw a presumption of fact. So a presumption of facts can be made by judge based on the human logic, where it would invoke inference naturally and logically based on the given facts or situation. It was derived from the human nature, habits and ordinary course of human affairs. Section 4, Section 1 of the Evidence Act provide that this presumption may be invoked by the judge whenever appropriate according to the circumstances of the cases, and the word may presume uses under this section shows that this presumption is rebuttable. So based on this case, we can see that the court here can rebut an exception and presumption of fact under section 114 of the Evidence Act, where under this section it allows the court to presume an existence of facts which is likely happen based on the common natural events, human conduct and others. And based on this situation, section 114 illustration G would be suitable, whereby this section provides that any evidence which should be produced or fail to be produced would be assumed as unfavorable upon the party who withhold it, and this commonly known as adverse inference, where in the case of Munusami and PP, an adverse inference can only be drawn if there is an withholding or suppression of the evidence, but not merely due to failure to obtain evidence. So based on the current cases, we can see that the conduct of the defense counsel trying to impeach the credibility of MATMI as an expert evidence, and the fact that prosecution here did not raise any objection when another witness suggesting that MATMI looks like a drug addict, may allow the court to draw a presumption of facts of adverse inference. This is because the fact that the prosecution here had known Matmi as his witness, and based on his appearance, he might look unconvincing as an expert witness, and his credibility might be questioned by the court and even the defense counsel. And but the prosecution here had failed to object and protect his witness, and the prosecution here also failed to produce documentary evidence or tender any witness to the court in order to prove the credibility of the Matmi. As the Matmi here stands as the material witness to assist the prosecution to prove his case, the credibility of the Matmi is very significant to be proven. Okay, the failure of the prosecution to produce this evidence may allow the court to make an inference that the information upon the credibility of the Matmi might be favorable upon the opposing party, and this could destroy the prosecution case. However, the prosecution can rebut the presumption of this adverse inference and have the burden to prove that there have been reasonable attempts made by the prosecution to contact the witness or to produce any evidence but fail, and that the credibility of the Matmi in this case was not material and significant to be proven. And based on the case of PP against Morgan Kamurupa Mutusami, the court had drawn an adverse inference towards the failure of the prosecution to produce Amin as material witness to the court, to the case, and it destroys the prosecution case. So as for the conclusion, the court in this case shall allow the question given by the prosecution to cross Matmi to prove the credibility of the Matmi as expert witness. And if the credibility is failed to be proven, therefore the oral evidence given by Matmi may not be admitted by the court. And based on the conduct of the prosecution and the defense counsel, the court here can make a presumption of facts which would result in adverse inference drawn upon the prosecution due to his failure to prove the credibility of his witness by producing any documentary evidence or witnesses upon the court. Thank you. That's all from me.